Good evening. This is Mark Seaforth, your CEO, founder. I'm excited to be here tonight. This is going to be, I hope, something that everybody's going to be so excited about by the time I get finished. And I hope also it's a great tutorial to help you really, really understand the legacy tree. You know, the whole concept behind this was to allow every IBO that's in this business today to benefit, not from what's happening right now, but from the growth that we're going to have here in the United States and all across the world. As we expand country to country, and as people join the legacy tree, you're going to benefit. And that's an exciting thing. There's never been anything quite like this, that even though these people are not in your organization, you have nothing to do with them building or whatever they accomplish, because of the way this legacy tree works. They're going to be falling underneath of you, and you're going to be compensated. And again, the reason for doing this is we wanted to create something that really rewarded those people that have come on this business at an early stage and are helping us grow this thing and helping to spread the message. And it'll always be that way. So with nothing more, let's get started, because I want to go into the details. And again, this is more of a training, not a motivational thing at this point. It's to really help you understand how this legacy tree works and how you're going to get paid. So let me get in here very quickly, get us started. All right. What you're looking at is the legacy tree. This is a worldwide bonus compensation tree, and it's filled by a time-stamped qualification. Guys, we've talked about this in the very beginning. We want to make sure everybody understands it's worldwide. Everything that ever happens, you're going to benefit from. You also cannot get into the legacy tree until you qualify. So it doesn't matter if someone joined the company 6 months before you. If they have not qualified, they're not in the legacy tree. Once they do, they're now time-stamped and they go in. So that's what we mean by time-stamp. You go in at the time that you qualify. So let's take a look at how this works. You know, the legacy tree first, and we're going to talk about this in three different ways. We're going to first talk about how we actually feed the tree. In other words, where does the money come from to feed the legacy tree? Because obviously that's what we're all looking for is, okay, how am I going to get paid? Where's this money coming from? So what we do is we take the total CD, okay, and approximately 50% of all of our monthly memberships, this is the memberships from silver, gold, and platinum, whether they're IBOs or just individual customer members. We take 50% of all those monthly memberships, and that becomes part of our total CV. We also take 12.5% of all the VIP club card savings that are redeemed day in and day out and every month, and we take and we put that in to the legacy tree. All right, so that creates the total CV. So it's really fed, and you think about it, it's really fed by the success of all of our IBOs in creating customers. And the more customers you create out there as customer members, obviously the bigger this number gets. When you calculate it, what we do is this. We take the total CV, which is everything that's coming, like we just talked about, from all these sources, and 85% of it goes into the IBO teams, which is we call the team tree, and into the legacy tree. 15% goes into ranks and rewards. And we're not talking about that tonight, but we're going to have a tutorial on that too, explaining the ranks and rewards, because guys, there's going to be a lot of money over on that side too in creating these bonuses and awards as this company grows. But on the side over here on the left, the 85% of that, what we do is we take 25% of all that 85%, and that's what funds the actual legacy tree. That is all the CD that's fed in the legacy tree every month. Now, again, as this thing grows, I want everybody to understand, probably there'll never be more than maybe 25 to 30% of the total IBOs that we have worldwide will ever qualify for the legacy tree. That's not a bad thing. I mean, obviously you want to be in it, but the reality is only probably 25 to 30% will qualify and be in the legacy tree. The good part about that is there's a lot of money to be shared by a small group of people. So let's take a look at what happens here. So this thing is always growing, and become eligible, remember, to be qualified, to be timestamped, to actually go into the legacy tree. You become eligible by doing very simple things. There's 3 requirements, okay? One, either have you yourself, okay, you have a gold retail membership, or you have a platinum retail membership, or you have 20 retail membership customers. So you can do any of those 3 things, and you've met your personal qualification as an IBO. The second part, though, is it requires 2 other IBOs that have done the same thing for you to actually get that timestamp we've been talking about in the legacy tree. So achieving your second qualifier timestamps in your tree is very simple. Same thing. Qualifier 1, your first IBO, same thing. Gold. It could be either gold or platinum or have 20 customers. Your second qualifier, same thing. He's either got gold membership, platinum membership, or he's got 20 customers. When that happens, you're now timestamped and you enter the legacy tree. Guys, once you're in the legacy tree, as long as those other 2 stay qualified, you're in it for life. You don't want to leave it to the 2. You want to have 3 or 4 or 5, IBOs underneath of you that are gold or platinum or have the 20 retail customers, because that's going to ensure you're never going to have to worry about something happening where you're not going to get paid in the legacy tree. So it's a lot better to be a little safe. Obviously, the more, and a lot of you out there are doing such amazing things. You're probably going to have 5, 10, 20, who knows what you're going to end up with. But it only requires 2 to get there. Okay, now let's talk about how this thing continues to grow. We've talked about where the money comes from, right? This is where the money comes from that goes into the legacy tree. Now let's talk about how it actually fills, how it continues to grow and fill. What we've used here is a very simple system. It's called a balanced fill. And what this does, it just makes sure that it's fair to everybody. And I'll explain what I mean about that in just a second. So let's just talk about how it would fill. So now you're seeing here, you've got the first guy that enters the legacy tree. There's the second guy, he's on the left. Third guy's on the right. The next one that enters, notice he's on the left. The next one that enters the legacy tree is over here on the right side. This is what we call a balanced fill, okay? And it continues to go like that. So the next one goes back to the left. The next one that comes to the legacy tree, back to the right. Let's keep going. Left, you see number 8 there. So the next person, where do you think they're going to fall? Well, they're actually going to fall in this position right here, underneath the 5. They're going to be there because it's a balanced fill, and it continues to do that. So you got 9, and it's going to go back 10. Let's see how it's starting to fill in a very balanced method. Now you got 11, goes all the way back to 12. Now it's going to go to 13, back here to the left side to 14, and finally finishes up at 50. That's what we call a balanced fill. So that's how people are going to enter into the legacy tree as this thing continues to fill and fill and fill. Most important, when you look at this, let's say, for example, in this example, you're this guy right here. You're this guy right here, number 2, right? These people that are filling under you that you're going to get paid on, they weren't in your organization. Possibly they could have been, but most parts they're probably not. They're in somebody else's organization, but because of the way this fills, it doesn't matter where a person comes from. And that's what's so cool and amazing about this, is you get to benefit from other people that are building and growing the business. Now, guys, it continues, all right? So let's take a look at what happens. This shows the next line. We're not going to go through the left and right, but you can kind of see, you can see number 16 here is on the left. The next person is way over here on the right on this side, 17, and it's going to go back. You got to find 18. There's 18, and you can see how this continues to fill. So that's the fill pattern, all right? Now, to make this very simple for everybody, what we want you to understand is when you see your number, the actual number that you have, like it's say, for example, it's 16, all right? That means that you're the 16th person into the legacy tree. If you're way over here, you see you're the 17th person in the legacy tree. But you see all these numbers here, they're different, 24, 20, 28. That doesn't matter. This guy right here, if you see that as a 28, that means he's the 28th person in the legacy tree. There's people over here, 21, that came in before him. So remember, because it's doing this on a balanced fill. Now, a lot of people say, why do you do the balanced fill? What's the purpose behind that? Well, think about this. If you were number 2 right here, and let's say all of a sudden we had thousands and tens of thousands, which is going to happen in the legacy tree. If you just filled it left to right and you were number 2, oh, you'd be happy. Oh, look, I get the first 10 people all come in. They all came under me. What about this guy over here? Wouldn't it be a little unfair to him for him to wait for you to completely fill up before we start seeing anything? Of course it would be. So if you were number 2, you'd be happy. Number 3, you wouldn't be very happy. You'd want to balance still. This way, 16 came in here under 2. Yeah, and then look at old 17. He's under 3. This guy's happy now. And then it goes back to the left, back to the right. It's good for every person in the legacy tree. I don't care if you're number 2, number 4, number 6, 5, or 7. It's the same thing. That filling pattern keeps it fair and equitable for all. So that's one of the reasons that that's being done. You know, one of the things I really am always very happy about with this company is, you know, we've always said that everything we do, we want to be totally transparent. Very few companies really want you to understand how you're going to get paid, where it's going to come from. I think that's critical because I know me as a person. If I understand where the money's coming from and how it's being generated and what I need to do to be successful, I'm a lot more excited because it's real. It's not like, oh, I hope I'm going to get paid. I don't know how I'm going to get paid. No, you're going to know exactly how you're getting paid. So now let's take a look at this next screen we've got here. And that's what I was talking about. Remember the numbers? This is number 16 here. Well, obviously that's 16 there, right? Because 16 person in the tree, that's 16. Here's number 17. Well, 17, okay, actually when it came to the tree, this number 17 represents your position in the tree, but this is actually the 17th position because it numbers left to right. So you're always going to see 2 numbers. And we're going to show this to you very simply. You'll actually see it in your back office. So you'll get it that, okay, the top number is the number that actually is where I'm positioned. That's my real number in the legacy tree. So if you say, hey, I'm number 17 in the legacy tree, you're actually sitting in the 24th position, but you're number 17 actually in the legacy tree. So you kind of know 2 things, where I sit and what my point of entry was. When did I enter? So you know that you sit here at number 17, even though your position says 24, you've entered before, you know, this guy here, 18, 19, 20, you've entered before all of them because this is actually your entry number. So again, we're just showing you that so you get a very clear picture of what actually happens. Now, we talked about 2 things so far, where the money comes from and how this legacy tree is filled. So what's the next step? The next step, which I love the term, we've gone from, you know, the idea of, hey, we're feeding the tree, and now we're growing the tree with the people. Now what are we doing? Now we're going to show you how you bear the fruit. In other words, how the money is paid, how it comes back to you. Again, this is a whole unique system. This is unlike anything we do with the quick pay, the team trees, or anything anybody's ever seen before, but it's based on a very fair and very equitable way of doing it. And it really rewards everybody. So let's take a look at this. Step 1, remember about the 25% that came in of all the trees into the CV? So now you got that number. It doesn't matter what the number is. It's some percentage. And every month, of course, that number is changing. Hopefully, it's always going up, 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 and up. And I believe it will be. So all we do is we take that 25%, we divide it by the number of qualified IBOs, okay? And that gives us X. So if, for example, the volume was 100,000 and we had 10 IBOs, then what will we have? Let's see, 10 would be what, 1,000? No, is that correct, John? What would it be, 10,000? 10,000, right? Because it obviously just multiplies. So again, all you're doing is you take the math, you take the number, the total CV, the number of qualified IBOs, that gives you X. What happens next is actually you take X then, which is that number, and we divide it by the number of current pay lines. I know this sounds all complicated and everything. It's a little bit. Once you actually see it all laid out, it makes sense. In other words, if we only got 4 pay lines deep filled in the legacy tree, then we're only going to pay on 4 pay lines. If we got 8 pay lines filled, we're going to pay on 8 pay lines. If we got 20 pay lines filled, then we're going to pay on 20 pay lines. But keep this in mind. When we got 20 pay lines all filled, that 20th pay line represents what? More than 1 million people, correct? So why we did this is because we want everybody to get paid based on the size that's in the pay. Because what it does is it increases how much money you can make. Because then all we do is we take the number that we've got here to start with from X, we take the number of current pay lines, and that equals our legacy CV. Now, let me show you an actual working example of this. So you're going to receive your legacy CV in each position under you in the legacy tree. And here's how it actually works, all right? Let's take some actual looks in dollars, and this will make more sense, I think, this way. You take example 1 here we got. Let's say that 25% of all the CV in the entire company is $3,100. Not very much, but we'll use a conservative example. So all we do is we take the 3,100, We've got 31 IBOs in this example that are in the actual tree. That equals $100, right? You divide 31 and 31, it's $100. How many pay lines do we have? Well, we've only filled 4 pay lines. So therefore, we take the 4 pay lines divided by the $100. Now we've created this amount of $25. What does that mean? That means that every IBO underneath of you in the legacy tree is creating $25 to you. So it's very simple. Let's say you're position 2. This is you right here, position 2. Well, position 2, if you look at this, there's 25 positions, 25 IBOs in position 2. If you take and add up 4, 6, 8, 12, 10, 4, all these different positions, it equals 14 positions. So you got 14 positions when you're sitting here too, you're going to get paid on, times $25, which is a huge number, per person. Because the average, back in the team tree is probably going to be anywhere from $1 to $3 to $5, whatever it's going to be. This number here is going to be a staggeringly high number. And again, these are very conservative numbers we're looking at, so keep this in mind. So if you look at that, 2 then, if that were you, you would be paid on 14 positions at $25. You'd get a check for $350 in the legacy tree. If you're in position 5, that's this guy over here, you've only got 6 positions underneath you. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, right? Times 25. So 6 times 25, you make $150. Now you see this is pretty simple. I mean, this is actually very, very simple on how you're going to get paid. Let's take a little different example with a little bit more money, not much, because we're keeping it, again, I want to keep this really, really conservative. Here's the great thing about this. Guys, you can play with this yourself, because think about it. What I'm showing you, you can take and start inputting real numbers based on the sales of the company. For example, this month it looks like we're going to see, probably $1 million in sales. If we do, and I think we will, then we've created, 500,000 in CV that then goes into all this process of creating this formula and then creating the money that's going to go into the legacy tree and the number of people that are going to be able to share in that. So let's take a look at this second example. We take, again, 25% of the CVs, $4,600, divide that by the total number of IBOs in the legacy tree at $75. You take the number of pay lines that are now filled out. So we've got 5 pay lines, divide that by the 75. So it's $15 per person. But now look what's happened here. Number 2, now his organization obviously has grown bigger because more and more people are in the legacy tree. So now he's got 30 positions at $15, so he's making $450. This guy over here, number 7, he's got 13 positions underneath them at $15. So now he's making $195. So you see how this thing continues to expand and expand and grow. Now, there has never been a better time to build, obviously, because the higher you are in the legacy tree, the more reward you are going to capture, not just today. And that's one thing I want everybody to understand. It's not what happens today. It's what's going to happen tomorrow and the months and the years ahead. These numbers are going to be unbelievable. Here's another exciting part. Remember, and if you didn't know this, you're going to hear it for the first time tonight. You see these top 15 positions in the legacy tree, 1, 2, 3, these top 15? These have all been blocked. And we did that for a reason. Because think about it. The first people that entered the legacy tree started the position down here, number 16, and then 17 went over here, and then it's been continuing to fill ever since. But these top 15 positions are blocked for one reason. There's a lot of money that will be in those top 15 spots. Because you can imagine the amount of money that's going to be generated back to those 15 spots from this legacy tree as it gets bigger and bigger. Those spots are going to be available to each and every one of you every 3 months. 15 people are going to qualify to go into this legacy tree. Hear me now. Every 3 months, there'll be a new group of people that qualify to go in this legacy tree. So I don't care if you get in the business 5 years from now or 20 years from now, you're going to be able to benefit in these top 15 spots. Now, why is that so important? And I actually want to leave the screen here. I think there's one more thing here that I want to come back and talk about this, because this is going to be huge for all of you guys. Let's see what we got here. Well, this is basically, kind of the ending saying, okay, here's the legacy tree, worldwide bonus comp set. But I got to share this part with you. And keep in mind those top 15 spots as I'm talking about this. And I love it. You're building right now, and you're building, okay? And you're going to be one of our better builders. So you're going to have a position in the legacy tree somewhere, and it's going to pay you very, very well. But now you end up, during our qualifying time, you become one of the top builders. And so you go into one of those top 15 spots. All we do is we take all the money that accumulates in those top 15 spots, and share it equally between those top 15 people. And anybody, even if it's 5 years from now, 10 years from now, can qualify for one of those top 15 spots. And I want you to kind of think about this. Why would we do this? Well, you guys are in the business early, and you're building, you're growing, and you're excited. There's going to come a time when you're probably going to want to slow down and retire. And that's the whole idea. You want to be able to do that one day. So when you do, don't you want something out there that's constantly driving new growth and new excitement? And if a guy that gets in 5 or 10 years from now could fill one of those spots, and he knows that, and he knows how much money is in that legacy tree now, you do not think he's going to be working really, really hard? Of course he is. So it's an incentive for everybody to always benefit, whether you're building today or if you're retired 5 years from now and you just want everybody else building. Everybody's going to be shooting to be in one of those 15 spots all the time, because when it happens, you're in there for 90 days. We're going to do it for a full quarter of every year. Now, the closing thing I want to leave you with. It starts tonight. Okay? This legacy thing, remember, the legacy tree actually started May 1st. Even though nobody's seen it yet, it started May 1st. And we're actually going to be paying on the legacy tree. Obviously, the end of this month, you're going to get paid on both your team trees and legacy tree. But here's what also is going to happen. Starting tonight, and there'll be an email out tomorrow, because I know not everybody's on this call, so we want to make it fair to everybody. So starting tomorrow, anyone starting by tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. that ends up being one of the biggest builders between now and the end of June, hear me very clearly, between starting tomorrow and the end of June, all those that are the biggest builders going forward, and this is good for everybody, even though we got guys have been building like crazy already, but going forward, those biggest ones, top 15, will get the first 3 months, the first quarter in the legacy tree. And it will be retroactive to May 1st. So that means by the end of June, if you happen to hit one of those 15 spots, because you're one of the biggest builders out there, you go into the legacy tree, you're going to get paid on May's volume in the legacy tree, June's volume, and July's volume. So 3 months you're going to be paid on it. And then obviously there'll be new people coming. Maybe not. Maybe you'll be one of the ones that'll always stay there because you're always building and growing. I hope so. So guys, you got a little challenge there ahead of you. If you're out there and you want a reason to really go to work right now, starting tomorrow, you might want to do this, because you still keep your other spot in the legacy tree. You get paid. If you're in the legacy tree right now, don't worry, you're getting paid. You're in there. You're going to get paid. But think how much more it's going to be if you hold one of those 15 spots. So anybody interested? Game on. We're going to have some fun, guys. This is all built on one simple thing, people purchasing our product. And that's one of the great things. Our VIP card is just exploding. I heard, and I'll leave you with this, I heard from our hotel providers that they're like in shock. They said, oh my gosh, they said, at the rate you're going right now, this is if it didn't grow anymore, if it just stayed where it's at right now, they said right now, you're on a path between now and the end of the year to do over $5 million in hotel sales. It's obviously creating tremendous commissions back to you as individuals and into the CV and into the legacy tree and into the team tree. That's if we didn't even grow. If we just stayed where we're at right now. And guys, that's not happening, because we got a product everybody wants, everybody uses, and I love it. Our inventory, it replenishes itself every day. So guys, we can't run out of product. If you can sell $1 trillion worth of product, guess what? You can do that tomorrow, and it'll be replaced the following day. So we're going to just be able to continue to grow and grow and grow.